up here. It is Monday, May 8th, and it is the final day of the Open USBC. I'm Gavin Welpert, and I'm here with Adam Parrish. What's up, Adam?
Hi,
Oh,
Gavin.
there you are.
Hi,
Hey there.
everybody.
So we're here. You can see you're looking at the scoreboard. We're halfway through the match. They played 60 boards yesterday, and you can see that Fleischer opened up a pretty big lead. Although I will say, in this notoriously in the USBC, there have been 60, 70 imp leads, and they disappear really, really quickly. So as much as it is a what is it? What is that? 21 and 54, 75 imp lead. It's not as over as you think it would be. So it'll be interesting to watch today. I think for the sake of kibitzers, we're hoping that the match tightens up a little bit. Obviously, it's more exciting if if towards the end of the match there's a chance that either team can win. But still pretty impressive what the Fleischer team is doing here in the finals.
Yeah, and certainly if they could be up by 80 in one day, Nickel can, make 80 up in the next day.
Yeah. There was a redoubled, freely bid game that was redoubled.
Yeah, I saw that. That was in the second segment. Maybe we got it. They're going to start right now. The game it's starting right away, so we won't have time. But it was a pretty interesting hand. Where's that redoubled contract? It was maybe it wasn't in the second segment. It was in the third one. Yeah, it was a really good bid by Marty there. He went a heart past two hearts, and he bid Michael's three hearts with that West hand, and went past, and his partner jumped to four spades. So he had a really huge hand. Like he couldn't believe his partner jumped to four spades with his hand. So when it went double, and it's hard to blame Ralph for doubling with king queen jack of spades, and partners opened the bidding. So it's like and honestly, given what East hand is, it's good that South doubled. It's only that we ran into a brick wall with West that it worked out that they made an over trick here in four spades. Partner was good for exactly no defensive tricks. All right, so the bridge is starting. So let's get to the VUGRAPH here. Let's hope we can. Here we are, segment 5. We're gonna watch. We'll see we're gonna go to whichever room is slower. We'll let them get going, but we'll let one table get ahead and see what's
one no trump with a 5-card major for our fan.
It's common theme for the tournament so far. There's been a lot of these 14, 15 point hands with 5-card majors. They seem to just come up a lot. So Stamen, a normal Stamen with South, and North bid 2 spades, and so they played 3 no trump. So you see East, knowing that South has 4 hearts and North has 4 spades, they decided to lead their queen fourth of clubs. There's no real purpose to leading a 5-card heart suit to the 10 when you know that dummy's hitting with a 4-card suit, because partner can only have 2 of them. You're going to be helping them, maybe finessing partner out of an honor. So it's just not right to lead a heart with that East hand. So they let a club.
Lead our suits, not their suits.
Yeah, Gru will not be the slow table. Who's in at the other room?
Greco
may balance it out.
Yeah, Greco may balance it out for sure.
Depends where all the decisions are, I guess. Who's sitting in the other room?
The other room is Zia and Mextroth and Weinstein and Levin. So, and interestingly, Mextroth opened 1 spade with the North hand. That's surprising. I didn't know that really any American pairs would open. I guess they're into their gazilli, but because otherwise opening one no trump is just completely, as we talked about yesterday, completely standard.
What's their no trump range?
I think they're 15, 17.
Yeah. I mean, so he'd have to upgrade it into that, which again is pretty standard practice.
I know Weinstein. One thing that he's always thinking is that when he has 5 spades and 3 hearts, he sometimes doesn't like opening one no trump with 5 spades and 3 hearts, or something like that. There's some weird thing that he has about. Can't remember if it's 5 spades and 2. No, it's 5 spades and 2 hearts that he doesn't like opening one no trump, because then partners transfers you to your doubleton heart. So how are they doing here? So they East West has 2 tricks in, and they've got 2 more club tricks. It's 4 and a spade. Yeah, it's just going to go down 1 at this table.
Yeah.
The club lead was important. It's hard to jump into a hand midway. We should have started the broadcast maybe 5 minutes earlier for sure.
Also, Gavin Chad is rightly complaining that my volume's pretty quiet.
Sorry, yeah. I turned you down because you had that thing going on, but now I'll turn.
Sorry,
it down.
I was not muted in Zoom, so you probably
gotcha.
hear me twice.
Cool. Okay.
Now all my fans can hear my sultry sounds of my voice.
Okay. So yeah, so let's
go to the other table.
We can, but they're already 4 tricks in. It's going to be pretty hard to jump into it. As soon as the other table is starting board number 2, we're going to move over there for sure. But let's see. So South has an awkward hand. We might see him open 2 clubs precision with 7 highs. No, he did not. I mean 9 highs rather in second chair, but no. Not good enough to preempt, not good enough to open. I mean, it's good enough to preempt. It's just not the right hand to preempt second seat vulnerable.
Right. Yeah.
So spade pass, and now South won't be able to bid Drury or bid 2 clubs because that'll be showing a limit raise in spades. So South will have to find another bid with their hand. Oh, North has a strong club. Sorry, excuse me. 15, yeah. So South with 9 has enough to game force. Opposite partner showed 16 or more. That's what these guys play. So South showed 9, 8 plus probably here with clubs. They probably have a special agreement here. What does 2 clubs say? Just 6 plus clubs game forcing.
Right. Yeah, because once you're a passed hand, you can't have 12. Like usually they differentiate 8 to 11 and 12 plus, but as a passed hand, obviously.
So now it's kind of like they're in a 2-over-1 kind of auction. They're in a game force, but North hasn't said anything about their hand. So now North is going to have to show their spades, and then they're going to introduce their hearts, perhaps. It's going to go 2 spades. Let's see what South bids. 2-0 without a diamond stopper, but with a heart stopper. We might see him just rebid his clubs because he doesn't want to. Okay, there you are, 2-0.
Right.
And now
it looks like the first board was a push.
Okay, so we're gonna jump over to the other table now. It'll be in the middle of the auction. Then we're gonna stay there. We're not gonna jump back and forth.
I was just letting you know because it just ended. We can hop over there with no weirdness.
Okay. So the plan on this hand is obviously we're going to game. What's our best game? No trumps looks like it'll be okay with the king of spades on side. You'll be able to take 5 spades and lots of side suit tricks. So it's not a likely swing hand. Although here you see Weinstein in third chair. He's opening a club. He's doing this like he's got a nice 11 count. I mean, an okay 11 count. We didn't see them open in third chair in the other room. Who was that? Brad and Joe in the other room. And they didn't open in third chair there with 11.
Yeah, and also notice the choice of a club opening instead of a diamond. Like the textbook opening on this hand is a diamond with 4-4 in the minors, but because he's light and partner's a passed hand, and you'd much rather partner lead a club than a diamond.
Yeah, usually that's kind of the only reason I would ever open light in third chair. I've been through my days of opening every hand in third chair, but honestly, what I've settled on as my style now is the only time I ever really open light in third chair is because I really want that suit led. That or I'm like really nicely distributional, and if partner gives me a nice big raise, I'll be comfortable with it.
Right. One club also has the benefit that partner might respond to diamond. And now you can find either a club or a diamond fit easily. But
kind of expecting the opponents to compete with the major when it goes pass, and you have that hand for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I remember I went through a phase of really trying to mess with the opponents when I was third seat white red. And then I played a set with Gavin once. And I did something like this, and you yelled at me. You took me away from the table later. You're like, we don't need to win the hand on the first bid of the auction. Like, let's just grind these guys down. Like, you don't need to do crazy stuff because if your thing doesn't work out, we can't recover. We can't use any of our skill to recover from your wild actions. So
yeah, that's a very important lesson for people to learn when you're coming up and becoming an advanced and expert player. Is like that deciding the hand on your first bid is just it's not being a good partner. It's not being a good teammate. But I find it hard to believe I yelled at you.
No, I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating. But you were like, this is a really important moment in your life, so listen up. Like, don't do this stuff. Like, we can beat these people. We don't need to, I mean, of course, there's a time and place for it. As you get better and better, you sort of learn. Bridges, it feels like this seesaw of you start out with a bunch of rigid rules, and then you start learning when you can relax those rules and when you can't. But before you lack the judgment to know when to deviate from them, so you adhere to them as rigidly as you can. And that keeps happening. Like, I've been surprised at how many points in my life when I've like, okay, I better just follow these rules, and then someone's like, well, but not on this hand because. Like, oh, there's a whole new, very many layers to all of this.
So just catching up on this auction, a spade by North overcalled. South advanced with 1-no. They could have bid. He couldn't bid 2 clubs because that would have been a Q bid raise, so he had to bid 1-no. North made a 2-club Q bid, which is he was just trying to say he had a really good hand, because if Mextroth just over 1-no, if he only bid 2 hearts, that would just sound like some weak hand over 1-no that would rather play in hearts or spades over than play in 1-no trump. So with a good hand with 15 like North has, they really need to do something more forward going, because the South's 1-no trump bid, they showed anywhere from 7, 8 to 11 as a passed hand. They probably don't have 11 all that often, although it seems like Zia and Mech are playing a pretty sound style here for their opening bids. So North has to do something positive with 15 when their partner could have 11. So that's why he chose Q bid of 2 clubs to make a forcing bid. That way, if partner bids 2 diamonds, he can bid 2 hearts and have shown a good hand with spades and hearts. Or if partner bids 2 spades, maybe he'll know that partner's just got a weak hand and is going back to 2 spades over 2 clubs. So it's a nice spot for a Q bid. Sorry.
Notice the play of the Jack of Diamonds here. He's unblocking to set up the finesse of the Ace 10 later, right? He's expecting Weinstein to have the other honor, so he can now finesse without blocking the suit later on in the hand.
And even though you could just retain the Jack of Hearts and run it, it's more awkward because then you end up winning that trick in your hand, and you need another entry to get to dummy to have the ace. And he's not really short of dummy entries, but it's just good technique.
Yeah, it costs you basically nothing.
Someone in chat, by the way, asked if 2-no trump here would have been a 4-card raise of spades.
Yeah, as a passed hand, it definitely would be, because there's no hand. So just if you think about what the range is for 2-no trump, when your partner overcalls a spade and you jump to 2-no trump, that's showing an opening hand, but it's not the normal one club 2-no that might be inviting your partner to game opposite an opening bid. A club, a spade, pass 2-no trump, that would be inviting your partner to game opposite an overcall. Or one level overcalls could have as few as 7, 8 points. We've seen some pretty ugly one level overcalls just in the few sets we've watched. So you can't be jumping to 2-no trump with 11 points when your partner's overcalling at the 1 level. So the jump to 2-no trump typically would show an opening hand, like a 12 to 14, 12 to 15 even. 15 is, like, if you think about it, 15 is not enough to go to game opposite a 7-point overcall, right? So you have to have bids that show opening hands. But once you're a passed hand, you can't have that hand anymore. You don't have 12 to 15 points in a balanced hand. So there's just no reason to put, it's just not natural, because you'll never use it for natural. With up to 11, you'd bid 1-no, and with 12, you would have opened. So that's why you would just play a jump to 2-no trump opposite your partner's one of a major when you're a passed hand. Shows a 4-card raise.
It's an interesting choice there by Bobby to cover the Jack of Hearts. Like, I would expect Bobby to think Declare would be playing Stevie for all the points. Jack of Hearts, I mean, it's just a fascinating play. He led the Jack of Hearts without the 9, and I don't know. Just really
it also seems like he's trying to get dummy entries. So playing the Queen of Hearts gives him he can do it himself anyway.
Yeah.
Once the Jack holds.
Chat was also asking if instead of Q bidding 2 clubs, could he have jumped to 3 hearts?
He could have, but that would be game forcing. It would sound more like a 6-4 hand, exactly, because they didn't Michaels. You would think if partner overcalled a spade and then jumped to 3 hearts, it would almost, I would assume my partner was 6-4 in the majors when they do that, because and also just would be more of a game forcing bid rather than with 15. You're not really quite game forcing. With 16 or 17, you're closer to just being sure you want to be in game.
Yeah. We at the other table, by the way, Hanson Greco steered this hand to the 4-3 heart fit, which is going to be interesting.
Okay, so normal diamond pass a heart. East definitely going to want to bid with their 16 points. He'll probably just overcall a spade. He could overcall a strong no trump. Really important for anybody out there that still thinks that it's a good idea to play sandwich no trump in the 4th seat when you're not a passed hand. Terrible convention. Incredibly important that when the opponents open a suit, pass a suit, that 4th hand is able to overcall 1 no trump. is it's so important.
Especially the way people open and respond today, right? They could have a total of like 14 points.
Yeah, no, it's funny because we're all taught that you need 6 points to respond to an opening bid, but I've just been starting with my students to open their eyes to the fact that experts respond on garbage. We respond all the time over one of a suit, especially non-vulnerable. It's so free to respond that we don't care that we get to it. It works out very well. And if your opponents are aggressively responding to opening bids, that they could have 10 and 3 and you have 27 points and you haven't had a chance to overcall, so you need to be able to overcall one no trump.
Gavin, if you shade your response like that, like let's say partner opens a club and you respond a major on something substandard and partner jump shifts as opener, would you commit to game having responded?
No. The way I look at it is like when I choose to respond with like a 3 count, I could have passed you in your opening bid. So now I'm just going to pass you in your. It doesn't matter that your bid is meant as game forcing. It was game forcing in the context of my response having 6 points, but like I could have passed 1. What's the difference? So like
I know. I asked that question because a long time ago in the Bridge Bulletin, I read an article for like beginner players talking about not compounding a mistake by making a further one, and it was exactly this example. They're like, you've responded one of a thing with only a 4 count because you had an ace and you had a void in partner suit, and then partner jump shifts, and they're like, the guy panics in this story because I have a substandard opener and partner's forced to game, and panic and pass, and she's like, what you've done here is you made a mistake by responding in the first place, which we don't agree with. And then you compounded that mistake with a second mistake, which is not honoring partner's game force. And she has constructed this example where like they're cold for slam and they're playing a part score. And I do see a lot of people choosing to back their judgment by making one quick response and then perhaps passing a jump shift. That does seem to be the way now.
Here they are in 3 diamonds. I do want to. There's some interesting discussion going on about Mini Maxi Michaels in the Twitch chat, but hopefully we'll get a chance to bounce back because I definitely have pretty strong opinions about it. Because I learned one way and I play differently now. So and obviously from what Al was saying in chat about North Americans playing more constructive plus Michaels and the rest of the world playing Mini Maxi, I think it's just because we've evolved and. Clearly, I feel very confident that the way we play Michaels now is a lot better than the way it used to be. How's he gonna do? He's gonna lose 2 more trump tricks. Other than that, he's pretty solid. So I guess it is a pretty dull contract. If he plays ace of diamonds and a diamond, does that tap him out? He's gonna have to rough a heart though.
Very small swing on board too, by the way, because Greco brought the 4 hearts home in the 4-3.
So here he has to set this heart up before he plays ace and a diamond. If he played ace and a diamond too early, the opponents could make him rough in the north hand and maroon the hearts. So he has to do this right now.
Yeah, anytime you have a chance to show 10 or more cards in your hand at once, it can't be that bad. Although you guys could fight about it. I know Adam hates Michaels. It's like one of his least favorite bids after maybe power doubles. So you guys can have a fist fight about it.
I mean, in modern Michaels, like when you're vulnerable, the idea of overcalling like 1 spade, 2 spades Michaels to the 3 level with like less than 10 points is just suicidal in my view. To me, like there's no such thing as mini. I would never overcall 1 spade, 2 spades with like 8 highs and 5 hearts and 5 clubs, unless my suits were like incredibly solid, like Queen Jack 10 9 6 of hearts and 6 5. Okay, but I'm saying like 5 5. Like you just don't ever bid it. So this concept of Mini Maxi Michaels is just. I mean, maybe it's that people still only do it for the majors, showing 5 5 in the majors. Mini Maxi Michaels, maybe there's something there, but like 1 spade, 2 spades, you need to have a good hand to overcall Michaels at the 3 level. It's to show. Force your partner to the 3 level. So the Mini Maxi, it's just pointless. You're only going to have
vulnerability matters a lot. Like I tell people to think of it kind of like a preempt. That that when you're vulnerable, you want good suits for your Michaels and unusual 2-no trump bids.
I taught a pretty long, elaborate lesson it's available on my website about dealing with Michaels, about getting the opponents for numbers when they overcall Michaels, and it's pretty easy to do it. So that's why the idea of overcalling these really weak hands, it's an old-fashioned concept for sure.
Yeah. All right, a no trump Stamen. This is the sort of hand where I think we would use puppet Stamen.
Yeah, it's interesting that he didn't bid puppet.
It's hard to believe that they don't have it on their card, but maybe this is not a super regular partnership.
I mean,
especially
if you didn't bid it on this hand, it's, if you force me to make one guess, this is evidence that they don't play it.
Yeah. Maybe
South has 15 highs. When your partner shows 15 to 17, 15's like, it's not really enough for slam unless you catch a fit, right? Because if 32 points, it's just, you're usually going to be like a one trick short with 32 points unless you have a source of tricks that's going to get you over the hump. 33 is a magic number. It's amazing how 33 is a magic number for 6-no trump anyway.
This also calls back, Gavin, to what you were saying yesterday, that 5-3-3-2 opposite. I mean, this isn't 4-3-3, but
there's a big difference between 4-3-3 and 4-4-3-2. Like when I'm looking at this South hand, the thing about this South hand that adds value, that makes it worth more than 15, is the fact that you have two pretty decent 4-card suits that, like, especially the 10 of spades is the card that really stands out to me as like a potential of swinging us from 11 tricks to 12 tricks. Is having 4-card suits. You're not 32 high cards does not take 12 tricks, right? You're going to need to have a 4-card suit or two that take like a 4th trick in it, or a 5-card suit that takes a couple extra tricks in order to make a 32-point 6-no trump. And so I mean, I can see Zia upgrading and feeling like this looks like a 16 count, especially with them not upgrading that 14. They're not upgrading 14 counts. So far, it seemed to open 1-no. So I definitely think there's more there for as far as why Zia was willing to invite with this hand. But definitely paying attention to your 4-card suits when you're on this bubble, like 15 points. The more points you have in your 4-card suits, the better, because it's more likely that the 4th card is going to take a trick. Yeah, that's what you're looking for to make a 32-point slam. I'm surprised that they play old-fashioned methods. Like you see here, he jumped to 4-no trump to show 4 spades and a slam invite, because when it's not key card, for one thing, just to be cleared for everybody. When your partner responds 2 hearts or two of anything to Stamen, 4-no trump is just a quantitative invite. It says, partner, I want you to go to slam when you're a maximum, and I want you to stop when you have a minimum. It turns out on this hand, for what it's worth, 6 clubs is not the worst contract in the world, because you can make it. You need the clubs to hold, which is going to happen 2/3 of the time, meaning not a 4-1 club break, so that you don't lose 2 club tricks. And then once you don't lose 2 clubs, you have kind of 2 chances at making 6 clubs. One of them would be the 10 of hearts becoming good, so you can throw away the 4 of diamonds. And the other one is, if that doesn't happen, then you can fall back on the diamond finesse. So it's a pretty good 6-club contract here by North-South that they have missed on this board.
Also, what a lead from Bobby, by the way, before it gets away from us. This Queen of Clubs is pretty cool.
Well, he knows that there's 4 hearts on his right, so he leading a heart is not going to be right. And he didn't want to lead from Queen 3rd of spades or King 10 3rd of diamonds. This was not him wanting to lead a club. This was him not wanting to lead anything else.
There's spades in the dummy. There's declares and hearts. Hearts and declares hand. So yeah, it was just it's not like it's not a hand you're fist pumping to lead anything from.
Right.
And
hard to get the clubs right after that lead.
Jeff is.
So you are looking at the 10-9-8. Would he really lead Queen of Clubs from Queen Jack empty? Maybe. Especially Queen Jack 3rd.
I mean, look, if he had a hard hand to lead from, he's going to pick some. Although Queen Jack 3rd in this auction would just be. Although, to be fair, if he had nothing else in his hand, Queen Jack 3rd is actually a pretty reasonable league, because one of the best ways to beat 4-no trump when the opponents have 30 high cards is if you have 4 straight tricks on the go. So picking Queen Jack, usually when they have a quantitative 4-no and they stop in 4-no, they're going to make it. right? Like, because they were inviting 6. They weren't inviting 5. They're not 1 trick below the level. They stopped 2 tricks below where they were inviting to. So the chances are 4-0 is going to make. So the most common, there's 2 ways that 4-0 goes down in general. One of them is you set up you and your partner's 8-card fit, and then the opponents can't get to 10 tricks without letting you in again, and you take that suit. Or the other way is you run a quick 4. And so Queen Jack third, if you have nothing else in your hand, Queen Jack third is actually a pretty reasonable lead because your partner might have just Ace King fourth, and you take the first 4 tricks and it's done. When you have a lot of high cards, like, you have to count your high cards, because when they've invited slam, you know they have like 30 or 31. So if you have 7, trying to catch your partner with something is like, it's pointless. Bobby had 8 points here. He knows his partner's got nothing. So leading away from an honor is just like, it's dumb. It's like, it's pointless. You're just going to give away tricks. So counting up how many high cards you can expect from your partner is a pretty good rule of thumb when you're thinking about what to lead.
I think one of the most low-hanging fruit valuable places people can look to improve some of their results is trying to get a general understanding of what kinds of auctions call for a passive lead and what kind of auctions call for an aggressive lead. Yeah. Tons of tricks are given away by people going active at trick 1 when really they could just like lead from 3 small and sit there and wait. You know.
So we were trying to mastermind what the fast table is and what the slow table is, and we've moved over to this table, and obviously we're zipping ahead of the other room. So the other room, they stopped in 3-no trump on the board we just watched because they played 14-16, and now 15 was like, well, we don't have a slam. Great, let's stop in 3-no, and they didn't even look for slam. That one point was close to, with 15, you might not even invite opposite 15-17, but opposite 14-16, there's no chance you invite. Unless you could establish that club fit. Finding the club fit is the key to getting a hand like that.
So hard to get to a club slam on hands with that shape.
The only way is when you're accepting slam over 4-no to pull to 5 of a minor.
Yeah. If North was accepting slam, he might be able to introduce a new suit on the way, just as
he will. Yeah, not might be able to. That's the MO of reacting to 4-no in that spot. So a diamond, a normal 2-club overcall with Bobby with his 3 aces. You see, Zia didn't make a negative double. He didn't quite have a good enough hand to make a negative double. So they missed their spade fit, but it's not a big deal.
What's the general principle at work there? Is that like when the auction gets competitive and you really only have enough values to make 1 call, you should always favor showing support for partner over looking for another strain, right?
And honestly, like, this is imps, so there's not really an advantage to finding a 4-4 spade fit unless partner has like 19 highs. And if partner's got 19 highs, we're going to get another shot.
Yeah. At the same time, just devil's advocate, right? The double is a lot safer when you have the diamond fit. And, if you don't find a spade fit, you can always get back to diamonds. But the worry is partner just expects a little more from you than you have.
So when it goes a diamond, 2 clubs, no, negative double there would not promise 4-4 in the majors. You very frequently have to make a negative double with 1 4-card major. Right. When you because if you bid a new suit at the 2 level, a diamond, 2 clubs, 2 of a major, that would show 5. So anytime you have like an opening hand with 4 hearts, the only way to find a heart fit is to start by making a negative double. And if partner bids spades, then you run away. Like, you don't no, I don't actually have.
Right. Yeah. I like to say it's either 4-4 in the majors or 1 4-card major and a plan for what you're going to do when partner doesn't bid your suit.
Yes, that is a perfect
either
way.
You have a fit, or you have a stopper and can bid no trump, or big hand and can Q bid, something like that.
Right. It can get awkward for opener if it goes like 2 clubs, double, 4 clubs, and then like opener has a big hand with a major and isn't sure if they should bid. Right. That can be difficult because preempts are hard. But you just can't get shut out with 1 major and 10 points and nothing else to bid. Gavin, you once taught me something really, really valuable. It stuck with me for years. There was some hand I gave you and I was like, what does double mean on this hand? And you told me double means whatever it has to mean. And you said that's what double always means. Stop asking me what double means on this hand and think about what double must mean. Like, what hand is in a bind? It wants to make a bid but has no convenient bid. That's what double always is, whether it's takeout, negative, support, responsive, snapdragon, like whatever it is. They all have names, but they're all variations of the same thing. I have values that want to bid and no convenient call. That's always what it means. And sometimes the logic to figure out what hand that is a little more difficult than others, but it's always that.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's the way my brain thinks about bridge. I don't memorize what anything means. I figure it out on the spot every time. Like I obviously you see the same things over and over again. Eventually, it gets ingrained that way too. But being able to just figure out what things mean on the fly is a critical component to being getting past that stage of bridge where you're just memorizing a million different things, because it's too the game grows too large for that.
And this comment in chat, by the way, is really important. One diamond, when you overcall 2 clubs over at diamond, it can create a very awkward auction. And so I like to stretch to overcall 2 clubs when I can. And so my 2 club overcalls are a little over at diamond, are a little bit more sketchy than my 2 club overcalls over, let's say, a spade.
Right.
Because now their negative doubles are a little more well-defined. I don't take up as much of their room. It's just not as, it doesn't have as much preemptive value.
Right. Similar 1 spade, 2 heart overcall. Right now you're getting your major in, you're taking up a lot of room.
Ooh,
let's look at this auction here.
4 clubs.
4 clubs.
With 4, you got 4. He's got 4 of opener suit, so he's got a really potentially nice playing strength hand. On this hand, it turns out North has 8 high cards that are all completely useless for South. They're completely defensive values, not offensive values. So clubs is actually not going to do very well in this hand. You're going to lose. I mean, you're going to lose at least a heart, a club, a diamond, and 2 spades. Right, at least 5 tricks for North South. When East West doesn't actually look like they're making so much, because North is sitting over the Queen of Hearts with the King 10-9. And the King Queen of Diamonds are well placed, and the Ace Jack 9 4 the spades are offside. So sacrificing on this hand is not going to work out well for North South. And I don't. This is interesting because Bobby's got a fit, and so this is a spot where I'm pretty sure that East West are in a force because
they're red white.
They're vulnerable, and the opponents are not vulnerable. And so the idea that we're going to just defend 5 clubs undoubled when we've committed to a vulnerable game here, it doesn't work very well. It's not going to be a good thing for us to defend 5 clubs undoubled. So pass, and you can see that he alerted his pass. Pass actually was a bid that encouraged his partner to bid at the 5 level. It said to partner, I'm actually interested in bidding at the 5 level. If East wanted to strongly say, I have no interest in competing to the 5 level, they would double, and that double would just say no, like stop, I have no interest in going. But because of East's heart fit, even though he has a pretty ugly opening hand there, 12 count including a singleton queen, but the fact that he has a heart fit is something that he really wanted to convey to his partner, and that's what he did when he passed 5 clubs. That was suggesting to partner, hey partner, I have some interest in competing here at the 5 level. Something we don't often want to do. The 5 level is for the opponents and all that. But here, West's hand could have been much more distributional, because they committed. I mean, and not just distributional, much stronger, because they bid 4 hearts vol against not. Like, they could have had 16 and not really had another bid. That's the beauty of the 4 club bid, is it made all of West's heart hands that wanted to bid had only one way to do it. They had to bid 4 hearts, and so East doesn't know what's going on. They would love to show their partner the fit so that West can bid 5 when they need to. It's hard to blame either of North or South on this hand. I think they're both very interesting bids. Like Zia bidding 4 clubs white against red. I mean, it's like normal. It's just a. I bet we'll see them do some.
Greco chose to overcall 2 clubs with Zia's hand.
Okay, well that's going to work out really well for him, because maybe not. They haven't exactly avoided sacrificing.
Yeah. I admit, I mean, I'm certainly not a player of Mextros caliber, but I admit I don't think I would save in 5 clubs with the 4-3-3 and all the slow values in the red suits, but that,
Yeah, I mean, look, you can definitely see it. You can see this coming. It's not that weird that North has enough defense to beat 4 hearts. Yeah, he's got a sure heart trick and a sure diamond trick. But he did buy a lot. The Sif Jack of Hearts was a pretty useful card over there, and the fact that partner had a defensive trick in spades versus having like the Ace King 7th of clubs. If the opponents had the Ace of Spades, this was going to be a much easier hand in 4 hearts because they'd be able to use the spades to throw away their diamond losers. It's the fact that South had spades completely locked up that made it so that the diamonds have nowhere to go in 4 hearts.
Yeah.
So
and they wound up in 5 clubs doubled at the other table. So it's hard to avoid once you have a club fit.
Oh, I see. Right, because South overcalled 2 clubs, and then okay.
Right. Once North raises, it's just like,
Yeah. So we assign blame. I mean, I don't know, when both tables arrive at the same contract, although by different routes, is there blame to be assigned at all? Sometimes there's like a better score that was technically available, but it's not really available, right? Like when there's a slam that makes because 7 finesses are on. Like nobody has. It's like asking, who do we blame for not getting 1430 on this hand?
Yeah. And it's not like they were going to double 4 hearts, right? So it's not
right
that huge swing. But I guarantee you, both Zia and Mextroth are just like, okay, next hand.
Oh yeah,
right.
All of the people who, well, I don't say all of them. Gavin could probably say more about this, but I think most people that play at this level are pretty skilled at moving on to the next board without too much fuss. Even if you just completely pooched one, like, well, okay, we can't do anything about it now, so need all of my mental energy for the next one. That's a real hallmark of an excellent player.
I think that's the biggest skill in bridge. The most important skill in bridge is being mentally sound.
And very rarely talked about, I think.
Right. I mean, I would say that I would put being a good partner above being internally good sound, but there's a pretty big correlation between those together. 2 things. Yeah.
And sometimes it's your job to help your partner mentally get over. So if they did something ridiculous and they went for 1700 and just like, what, sometimes it's your job to help your partner do what they need to do, which is just move on.
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons Greg and I play together well, is we just have each other's backs and we have a lot of fun at the table.
You empathize with each other. That's the big thing about being a good partner, is just understanding how your partner feels and how it's going to make them feel.
And the thing that really changed it for me in that regard was the idea of starting every discussion with the assumption that partner has a brain, that whatever partner did that seems really dumb to you, they had a reason to do it, right? This is your partner. This is who you choose to play with. And let's just assume that they weren't just being an idiot. They had a reason. And if you start with that assumption, you just come from a place of love so much more. And it makes your discussion so much more constructive.
Stop, man. I'm tearing up over here.
It's worth pointing out on this hand that Mextroth used Stamen. He was going to use Smolin if he didn't find a fit immediately. There's a trade-off over 2-no Trump, whether you use Puppet Stamen or regular Stamen. And one of the big advantages of regular Stamen is it lets you use Smolin in this situation. You don't jump for this Smolin. It's 2-no Trump, 3 clubs, 3 diamonds, and he would bid 3 hearts to show 4 hearts and 5 spades. But obviously he found the fit here, so he didn't need to do anything fancy. But that's why he didn't transfer to his spade suit. He was planning on using Smolin if he didn't find a fit immediately.
It's true. I am always disappointed. The airport code near where I live is CHO, which I've always known as setter hand opponent. And I'm always disappointed that they don't have T-shirts I can buy at the airport gift shop that say CHO on them, because I think that'd be fantastic to wear today. They just don't exist. I need to start writing my local representatives. Yeah, if partner, that's right. I think Michael Rosenberg wrote a story about, I think it was Bob Hammond. He said one of the things that impressed him most about it was that when Bob's partner did something at the table that he didn't understand or he thought was a mistake, that he would think about it for at least a couple hours before saying anything. And occasionally what would happen is he would reconstruct the whole thing for partners, and then he'd be like, oh, wow. And he was retelling this story about how Bob was in at dinner, like all of a sudden looked up from what he was doing and said, oh, Michael made a great play today. And this thing he had been analyzing for a couple of hours, he was like, why the hell did Michael do this thing? And eventually he figured it out because he's coming from that place of love.
Okay, a diamond will get a spade.
Looks like South this is a perfect hand to go for penalties with. He's only got 10 highs, so he's not really worried about missing a game. So he's going to pass one. South will pass, hoping that partner reopens double, and then he's just going to defend one spade doubled. Because these hands, whenever you don't have enough for game, that's the best time to go for penalties. Like if you have somewhere between like 22 and 25 high cards where game's going to be touch and go or not biddable, but you've got them in a good place, going for penalties is optimal on those hands. So here, wow. So Levin and Weinstein play transfer advances to their overcalls. So this two diamonds isn't what you or I would play this as, which would be a limit raise in spades. They play this shows hearts, and it's either just a weak. Well, here as a passed hand, they're usually just going to have hearts, but here he has hearts with spade tolerance. Sometimes they're just transferring for the lead and then heading back to the major, but often they're just making kind of a free bid in hearts. And now you see Zia's double here of two hearts actually lets North Mextroth know that, hey, I actually have spades down here. That's what the double says. It seems weird, but the idea here is, what hand did Zia have that he couldn't bid over a spade, and then the opponents have advanced to the 2 level, and now suddenly he's come to life doubling 2 hearts. If he had hearts himself, he would have made a negative double of 1 spade. So the only meaning of this double here is, partner, I had originally passed 1 spade with the plan of doubling them for penalties. Now that they've reached the 2 level, I'm coming back in, and I want to let you know in case they're in serious trouble. Because you can imagine if Bobby only had a singleton heart here, and Mextroth had the queen as well on top of all this, which was perfectly reasonable. Nothing would have changed. Maybe Bobby wouldn't have overcalled, but give him back one of the other queens. And then North would have an easy time passing 2 hearts doubled, and they'd be dead to rights. They probably were in pretty bad shape in 2 hearts as it was. So it's possible this Steve's advance over 1 spade saved them, because they were going to be in 1 spade doubled, and Steve might have run away from that double. I don't think he would have with Jack Doubleton of spades. I think he would have just settled in 1 spade doubled. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the other room if they do get the same penalty. So the other room, they're playing a strong club. So
what do you guys think about the decision to play in either clubs or diamonds over this 3 clubs? Right, like if North was 5-5, they might well have bid before.
They didn't really have a chance, right? It went 2 diamond advance. So Zia can add up all the points. He's got 10. He knows that the overcaller's got at least 7, is 17. The person who's advancing to 2 hearts, they have at least like 7 or 8 points in their suit. There's not really enough in the deck for North to have like a full 5-5 that they would have bid 3 clubs on their own. Remember when a diamond and spade pass. So I don't think that he's going to free bid 3 clubs on a 5-5 there. I think that
still with 2 clubs and diamonds, it's got to be tempting to.
Well, partner could have bid 2 no trump. I don't know what that would have meant. I don't know. Partner could have bid 2 spades. I don't really actually. Not that I've had any extensive discussion with my partner about what any of these bids would mean, but
I mean, I think for me and Greg, 2 no trump would be 2 places, but emphasizing diamonds, and so 3 clubs.
Because you just always would pass the double if you had a heart stopper kind of thing, or like because what happens if you just have like some balanced hand with queen third of hearts that I guess you would just pass the 2 hearts doubled, but hoping they don't have like 9 of them. That's the problem.
Yeah, we live with it. Yeah, that gives you 2 ways to bid clubs, and so if you bid the clubs yourself, you're showing more in clubs.
So in the other room, Joe Grew opened one heart with the 10 count, which I guess we could have predicted. It was a non-vulnerable board, so this was a board that they play super aggressive opening bids. I can imagine that most people, when you're watching, I'll just pop it over for a second to the other room because wait, what's going on before I do that? Is there anything interesting left in 3 clubs? No, he's gonna try to rough a diamond, and then he should be okay after that, right? He's lost 3 tricks, and he's going to get over-roughed in the diamond, but that'll be it.
Right, it's a natural trump trick.
But so in the other room, I'm just showing you where his bid is. I'll pull it out in a second. But there, he's 10 highs with ace, king, jack, fifth. Nobody would open this. You don't have a rule of 20. You don't have anything. But these guys, when they're not vulnerable, they open hyper aggressively. They open all 10 counts, I think, is their rule. So he was bound by system to open. And you can see it actually saved them. It got them off the hook just like that. Partner never got a chance to even bid their spades. Okay.
A lot of interesting discussion going on here about how to get over results, good or bad results. And my opinion was that the skill is in not having a strong emotional response to a result either way, rather than getting over a strong emotional response quickly. Right, because it is true. It's very difficult to recover from a really strong emotional response.
I think one thing that amateur bridge players that don't they have it's a lot harder as an amateur bridge player to survive a set of boards without feeling bad about yourself, because you don't have the ability to look back on boards. Not everybody, obviously. I'm generalizing, but amateurs in general, they can't look at a board and say, I'm completely comfortable that I did the right thing on this board. There's nothing like I would do that every single time. There was no mistakes on this board, so I got a bad board, but it wasn't my fault. It wasn't like when you get to be a certain level where you like I even on most of my bad boards, I have no guilt whatsoever. I'm like, well, I would do that every time, every day, every single time. I know it's the right thing to do. It didn't work out well, but I know it's the right thing to do. It's harder when you can't say that to yourself. Like when you I don't know, what did I do? Which one of us screwed up on this hand? That's the common question: is whose fault was it when it obviously
assign the blame?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is what I always tell my students: like, did you make a reasonable decision? Right. A lot of the times you have a tough decision. You made a reasonable decision. It didn't work out.
Yeah, but when it takes forever to get to the point where you can separate the results from your feeling about the game. Like sometimes you have a 60% game and you're like, wow, I played terribly. And all of my terrible decisions happened to work out, and I escaped with a 60 and game did well. But you need to feel bad about that session. It's like in poker, when you get your money in bad but win, you need to feel bad about that result. And that's really difficult because you played bad. You won, you played bad.
Right.
That should feel bad.
Right.
Or like you lost, you got all your money in with aces and lost a couple times, and then you're out of the tournament. You should be high-fiving everyone on the way out of the room. That's really tough. Right, but all you could do is get your money in good, play the best you can, and hope the cards are what they are. There's no certainty.
I'm wondering how much playing poker professionally helped me in that way, like dealing with the variance and understanding variance, and just I'm sure that there's a correlation there between those two things. Being able to get over your bad days at poker was definitely a lot like getting over bad boards at bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But the hard thing for newer players is being able to say, okay, this was a reasonable decision, right? It's like, did I actually make a reasonable decision? And that's where having a bridge teacher or mentor is so useful, that you can send them a hand and say, was this reasonable? And it's like, no, or yes, right? A lot of the time it's like, yeah.
I can't tell you how often. So like I get questions on part of when people get my lessons on my website, they can go and they can ask questions related to the lesson afterwards. And one of the things I encourage my students to do is come and post hands that they played that they felt like they had a bad board or whatever. And I'm amazed at how often my students will come and post like, "Well, we got this hand wrong. What should we have done? How could we have bid this slam, or what could we have done?" And a huge percentage of the time, it's just like, I would have done exactly what you did in both chairs, so you didn't work out well. It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's the majority of the time these questions that I get, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the hope is you're an expert. You look back at your session, you're like, yeah, I would do this all the same thing. But even when you don't, I mean, Adam and I know we had a couple hands, especially on our final day in the nationals, where like I was just, I forgot how transfers worked or something, like something silly, and I looked at the result and I was like, God, this result is clearly awful, and it's clearly on me, right? Like I just did a silly thing, and Adam just had to sit there as a dummy and watch me struggle. But it's just, you have to have a way to continue to play at your best ability after that, and whether that's quickly recovering from those negative feelings or just not having them in the first place, which I know.
I mean, it's impossible not to have
psychopath,
not to have.
Right, of course you're going to feel something, but you can't mope about it for 30 minutes because 2 more boards are going to happen, and if you're focused on that, so whatever that skill is, I imagine it can be practiced. I don't know if there's some sort of aversion therapy or something you could do where you just like go and deliberately have a bunch of bad results. I don't know. I don't know what you would do, but
he just made a mistake here, and he's going to lose a trump trick.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we thought this board was
got boring. A comment over from Facebook from Tom. Tom, thank you very much for the nice comment about the comments. But I use Streamlabs OBS to broadcast.
Right.
Yeah. I have found that when students ask me a question about a hand, they're hoping for the answer of you did something right, but even more so, your partner did something wrong.
Right. I wonder what percentage of the bidding polls on bridge winners are attempts to settle an argument.
Oh,
so
most of them.
This hand's pretty interesting. It's going to start a club by East, and South has a very nice hand. Just normally when I'm 5-4 in the majors, I would typically just overcall my 5-card major. This hand is pretty strong though. This hand is too strong to overcall 1 heart, so it's a much easier takeout double because normally when you have 5 hearts and 4 spades like this, what happens when you make a takeout double is that you lose your 5-3 heart fit, because when you double, let's say partner bid diamonds, now when you introduce the heart suit, you'd be showing a really strong hand. So when you have a minimum opening hand, like let's say an ace fewer, like 1 less ace on this hand, you wouldn't be good enough to double and bid hearts, so you're better off just overcalling a heart. But now with this strong hand, Zia has no problem doubling, letting his partner answer, and then bidding hearts to show a 17+ point hand. And so that's what we're going to see. Oh, he bid 2 clubs to gain.
He bid 1 no. His partner responded.
Partner's 1 no showed values. This is kind of like 7 to 10, I would imagine, 7 to 11, somewhere in there. So I don't know why he bid 2 clubs and not 2 hearts. 2 hearts.
They might play 2 hearts here. Doesn't show extras.
But how could it not show extras? They're doubling and bidding hearts. Like that'd be a little weird.
I mean, Greg and I play it doesn't show extras.
We play 2 diamonds doesn't show extras here, right? Equal level correction, well, because we. Oh yeah right. But sorry yeah, we're allowed to double with, like, we would be allowed to double with the minors the other direction because we play equal level conversion. Where like if partner bids a diamond, we could correct to 1 heart to say, just kidding, I didn't have diamonds.
Okay.
But
all right.
But I don't know if that would yeah.
Because Adam what?
Adam hates power doubles.
Adam really does, but I don't know if that would apply here over a no trump because partners showed values.
Well, you can Q bid to set the game force.
Right, and that's what he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I mean, the Q bid here certainly sets a game force.
Yeah.
And now Z is able to pattern out ish. Not quite. But
funny, Weinstein threw a double out there over 2 clubs.
Wow, what a sicko.
Just, like, let me get involved just for the. I was sitting here with my 0 count pat. Like, you know what? Here's a chance. Let me bid something. I wonder what that was even for. Doubles. What is?
Yeah, it's interesting. He doesn't want a club lead. I mean, maybe he does. No, he actually does want a club lead.
Against 3-0.
Yeah.
Like, even though his clubs aren't good, he just wants to let his partner know, like, this is where our. Yeah.
And he didn't think they were making 2 clubs.
They were not making 2 clubs.
they might actually make 2.
Well, exactly. Wait a second. You want to? Should we count the tricks here? Because I can see a lot. There, 2 spades, 3 hearts is 5, 2 diamonds is 7. You're gonna make an over trick in 2 clubs.
Okay, never mind. 2 clubs redoubled.
They have to lead the king of clubs, I think, to hold you to 2 clubs.
Wow. Okay, never mind. The first.
Oh no, they can shift to the king of clubs after getting in with the ace of spades.
First ever lead directing double on a Yarborough.
I guarantee it's not the first one ever.
Yeah. Not
so they stayed out of 3-0 trump. I don't know if that was good or bad. I mean, I don't think it matters much on this hand with everything well placed. You're gonna make 6 diamonds. All the finesses are in the opening bidder's hand, so it's gonna be a pretty straightforward hand. In 3-0 trump, what's the risk? I mean, you know where all the high cards are. So 3-0 trump is just better. I think there's no chance that you're losing a finesse. You're only off how many points? 13 points. So we know the king of hearts was with East. We know the the ace of spades is with East. So you're gonna have no problem producing 9 tricks in 3-0 trump. So they kind of complicated auction that. Sorry?
I think it's good that I think it's good that Bobby and Steve aren't in the same room after the queen of clubs holds trick 1. Might be some words exchanged.
Yeah, it'll be a fun smoke break.
They are hilarious. Honestly, the bridge world would be better off if they were mic'd up both at and after the game. I mean,
you could charge for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really
if you
nothing.
haven't read on Bridge Winners their email exchange after their 7
Grand Slam off an ace screw up,
the ace of trumps, you should check that out. I think it's called like the Weinstein-Levin postmortem or something.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a link to that.
Yeah,
but I definitely feel that's one of the things about the trials is you come out of these rooms in Chicago and they're always in the smoking area outside. And you're always just looking to get outside anyway because it's nice. It's usually nice around this time of year, and just hearing them, they're just so funny. They're of all the pairs going at each other, like when they do it in a very friendly way. Like they love each other. It's all good, but they're easily the most fun pair, Bobby in particular. I mean, Steve's great to talk to about bridge, but listening to Bobby get into it with Steve is about as good as it gets.
Right. And now he's started using me as like an expert on their notes because I help them keep their notes. And so anytime there's an argument, Bobby comes to me and he's like, "This is what it says, right?" And I'm like, "Whatever, dude. You know him better than I do."
I posted a link to that article in the chat. That's from 12 years ago. I was watching that match live in my hotel room. I think I was sharing a room with Adam Kaplan. And then when the other table got to 7 diamonds off an ace, there was just like yelling. There was a lot of yelling. An amazing hand.
So the set's not a lot happening. It's going to be after this board, after North-South loses a couple imps. Nickel will pick up a couple imps for this board because of 490 compared to 420. The set is 5 imps to Fleischer's, 13-8, which is not a big deal except for Nickel's running out of time. There's only 60 boards today, and we're now almost through 1/6 of the day, and they haven't picked up any imps. And the charge has to happen. You can pick up a bunch of imps in a very short period of time, but you need some momentum. It needs to get into the other team's head a little bit, like we're talking about not getting over bad boards. Like it's a lot easier to play when your opponents are just not making any ground on you. You need that momentum swing.
Yeah.
Gavin, what's the percentage of boards that each player needs to play? Like, will we see Nickel
50-50? Yeah.
Okay, so we will see Nickel Cats more today.
Right.
2 more sets.
So yeah, I mean the Nickel team's hoping to pick up in this session with their front 4 playing, but they have a lot of confidence in Nick and Ralph too.
Oh yeah.
So he's deciding whether to play this safe or play for the over trick.
So 20-point over trick. If that's a decision, then there isn't much of a decision.
I mean, it's hard to imagine Steve has the king of hearts.
I mean, he did double with nothing in clubs, but yeah.
Oh, he's just going to squeeze him.
No, but he doesn't have safety no matter what. He's not going to have safety to take the finesse. He's going to
Yeah,
have to
true.
like live a little and take his finesse and assume that Bobby didn't open a 10 count because Bobby never opens 10 counts. So like, I don't think there's any risk at all. But he's torturing himself a little bit here.
Yeah, it's not exactly a show up squeeze, but the pause. Hey, he did it. That's respect.
Every imp counts.
I mean, sort of had to decide which player to play to have done a weird thing, right? Did Bobby open a 10 count or did Stevie double on a Yarborough?
I mean, I think actually it's more likely Steve doubled on a Yarborough than not a Yarborough at that point in the hand. Like when you know he doubled clubs with nothing in clubs, the chances are he's got nothing anywhere else, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you got it right. How many imps between 70 and 90?
1 imp.
1.
Yep. That is an imp.
So a spade.
So if you're just joining us live, this is the finals of the United States Bridge Championships. It is day 2. We are. I will switch back to the scorecard just for one quick. Oops, that one. No, I don't have it. All right, never mind. No switch into the scorecards. We'll just. The Fleischer team's leading by 80. They picked up a lead starting in the second segment of 8, and they've just been adding to that lead segment after segment and built up a nice lead here. Going into the 10th board. So there are 50 hands left today, so it's not over, but as each board goes by without big swings going in Nickel's direction, they are it's not good. Here's a really this is a very interesting hand. So Mech made a negative double because he felt like he was not good enough to free bid 2 hearts.
Mech's good enough to do anything. His hand isn't good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sure. So definitely, but he just felt like 2 hearts would show 10 plus and 5 plus hearts. He doesn't have 10 highs.
Suit, yeah, it's just
An awkward one. It's not really it's not really strong enough hand to bid 2 hearts. So he doubled, and Zia has such a minimal hand, and he has club length, so he just decided to leave Weinstein in 2 clubs doubled. And now Weinstein's looking at this like, this isn't really good. I hate overcalling 5 card suits at the 2 level, but sometimes you have to do it. I'm actually surprised he didn't consider making a takeout double with the West hand over, but the club suit quality, I guess, is just swayed him. I don't really think about the singleton honors. I just count them as points and know that they suck. That's really what basically it. Like, I don't like adjust my high cards for it. I just like, okay, I know that I have 13 points. It's still a 13 count, but I know this is a way worse 13 count than if my king is in another spot. So if it comes time for me to evaluate where I am in my range, I'll know I'm a bad one compared to a good one. But I definitely do not.
Stevie's really put Bobby in a rough spot here.
They're in a bad spot no matter what. Two clubs double was the best spot that they had. They couldn't do better than being in 2 clubs. He's now running away, and it's only making things worse.
Yeah, I mean, where did he think they were going to go?
I mean, Zia passed pretty quickly, right? So if Zia actually has 5 clubs, there's a decent chance partner's got 5 of another 5 card suit, right? I mean, I definitely understand him running.
No, yeah, I mean, if Steve did it, it was well thought out.
Oh, so did Bobby just pass the redouble? No, he didn't. If he passed it smoothly, then Zia would be like, wait a second. Zia actually would turn right back around to Zia and be like, well, 2 clubs redouble with queen 4 of the clubs on side. I don't know. It would have been interesting if Bobby passed quickly and 2 clubs redoubled. But it's hard to do that.
But I mean, what else is he going to do? Bid his 5 card spade suit?
Natural, no.
It's just ridiculous. He knows he's screwed. He knows he's in his best spot right now with the onside clubs, except for that he's redoubled. We might even see him run to 3 clubs. Which
3 clubs. Yeah, 3 clubs doubled plays better than 2 clubs redoubled. So.
Does if one? How many tricks is? Yeah, because
if it's down 2. Yeah.
if it's down to.
What if it's right? No.
Well, here 2-0 might not be the worst. The worst. I mean, it actually makes sense that 2-0 would be your best place. In fact, it might even be better than 2 clubs on this hand to play 2-0. No, could it be? Yeah, it could easily be that 2-0 is your best spot on this hand. Better than 2 clubs, because you're still going to get your 3 club tricks, maybe 4 club tricks, and a heart is 5 and a spade is 6. Diamond, they're going to have no choice but to give you a diamond trick on this hand for 7. 2-0 is actually might even be their. I mean, they're going to get doubled in 2-0, but look, East-West has half the points and North-South has half the points. It's not like it's a split deck hand. The problem is that East-West has no fit and things are not breaking very well. So he's bid 2 diamonds.
In 2-0, it would be hard for South not to give them a 7th trick on opening lead too.
So he's gonna. I think we might see Bobby redouble now. He might maybe offering saying to Weinstein like, I don't have hearts. Like I'm choose between hearts, no trumps. I think Bobby's gonna run with redouble right now. I don't think he's gonna settle in 2 diamonds doubled.
It's a long auction to 2 diamonds.
He might though, because like if he's thinking, what is Weinstein's most likely other suit, right? Because he's hoping Weinstein has 4 diamonds or 4 hearts. Diamonds is spades. Spades is their. It might be their best spot actually on this hand. No trumps best. No trumps best. I'm pretty sure no trumps best.
Mex sees Z as double. It's like what? Like I king 10-4. How are you doubling?
Bridge is hard.
There's a Burns law violation. For those of you who don't know, Burns law is try to have more trumps than the opponent.
I'll tell you that my team has definitely been wanting to do more of this, like what Zia just did here, passing 2 clubs double. I know Cran and Vinny would just be like all over passing this negative double in this spot with South. 2 clubs doubled, it's not game. So if the opponents make it, it's not even that big of a disaster. Let them have their 180 or their 380. Look what happened on this hand. You passed and they didn't have a club fit, and they're in so much trouble. They're vulnerable. You don't have a game, so.
I remember years ago watching, I think it was the first time you guys won the trials, and the commentators were constantly talking about how many low-level, like doubled part scores there were at Imps, and everyone was agog at these results. They're like, wow, they just got 500 out of nowhere and 300 out of nowhere. And eventually someone pointed out, like, if they're wrong, it's not a game. So, like, and they're just getting all these big results out of nowhere. They're running away with this event. Maybe they know something we don't.
They just got more guts than you have. That's really all it is. Like Cran and Vinny are amazing. Like and honestly, it's just as scary as it is awesome. It's not like it's all. You might have catch some heat on like and we're it might momentum for a week or 2. But then there's also every so often there's just like a normal hand where it's not so normal anymore. So there's a little bit of both. But we live and die by the sword for sure. Yeah, Cran and Vinny, both of them. They just love going out. Yeah. You're not allowed to come into their bidding, basically. That's really the rule of thumb. And honestly, it's scary. Like even when I'm practicing against them, it's hard. All these hands that you're like, I have a close overcall. They're gonna get you when they can get you. So it changes the imp odds a lot when you're playing against them to know, because when you bid, you're taking your life in your hands. They will come after you. But on the other hand, sometimes they're going to come after you, and it's going to be wrong.
This landed in 2 spades doubled by Weinstein. I was not expecting that outcome. But there we are. So after Bobby redoubled for rescue, Weinstein tried 2 spades, which I'm sure he didn't mean, as any sort of offer, but I guess when Jeff doubled it and Bobby passed, Steve sort of figured out what was going on, or maybe earlier. I don't know. This is wild.
I mean, if Bobby's running from diamonds and not bidding hearts, it's not hard to imagine he has 5 spades. And Steve's just suggesting this is their 7-card fifth.
Yeah.
So you see the 8 of spades here. It was not a necessary card from South. The 3 would have forced the 10 of spades out early. So the 8 of spades, what Zia's trying to do is he knows he's going to get in again and lead another spade. And so by playing 8 high-low, he's giving a suit preference signal to his partner that he wants spades return or hearts returned later when in the hand. That was kind of what Zia was, because Zia knows he's going to want a heart ruff at some stage.
When would it be right here for Jeff to take the ace?
Partner has a stiff little heart, which he knows partner has a stiff heart because partner's opened a spade, passed 2 clubs doubled, and ripped 2 diamonds. So he knows South has a stiff heart, so he's worried that his partner's not going to have the king of hearts. He just needs to grab it to stop them from getting a trick. So wrong on this hand. So that's 2 for north-south. They're definitely going to get the ace, 2 more spades and 2 more diamonds. So it's just going to be 1 down.
The other table in a pedestrian 2-heart contract.
Yeah, but it ended up being like kind of a really, really interesting nothing hand, right? Like the other table, they're in 2 hearts making what 2 so it's 3 imps. But man, was that was an exciting hand for not a lot. Although it did cost, obviously, Mech popping up with the ace of hearts. I believe it cost. Maybe not. It might not have mattered. I don't click that double dummy button, but it's possible that they were always only 1 down. That the king of hearts and a trump trick were the same. That South might have gotten end played on the hand.
Even if partner does have a stiff heart, which he does.
Oh no, they wouldn't get end played. It was definitely.
Are you really looking to give partner roughs? Like, aren't you?
I think he's more worried about, like, if you play low, then that's letting declare get a heart trick in. That maybe that wasn't. Yeah, you're right though, because he can count that declare has ace 10 of spades. So because they let him win the 10 of spades. So you know that partner's trump tricks. You're right. That's a little weird. It might not have needed to do that ever. Like, it might not have ever mattered.
I mean, yeah.
Well, that was an exciting -200.
Yeah, after all that, -200 feels like a disappointment. Yeah,
but it's another board in the books, and imps going towards Fleischer again. So it's 90. What are we at? 83.
So this one he upgrades.
Well, now Z is feeling it, right? He just passes. He passed a negative double, queen 4 of clubs. I got to, like, we're in a different, but he does have 10s and 9s. Like, to be fair, I really like upgrading with this hand too. You want the lead coming into your hand. You have like every spot.
4 triple 3.
North has a perfect garbage Stamen hand with a stiff club. Well, perfect would be stiff little club and king somewhere else, but the right. So
the double here shows a 4-card major and a longer minor. This is part of Woolsey.
Yeah. Z is just riding that momentum.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. I'm definitely there. Like, you have something good happen, things are going your way. It definitely affects how I play. There's no question. You got to press when you're feeling it.
Absolutely.
So North's got to. I mean, I would bid with Mech's hand for sure. Like, I'm not willing to just concede. The question is, do we want to defend or declare? You could pass and let the auction develop. You can see that it's probably going to. The clubs is where they're going to probably end, so you could make a takeout double of clubs later. But no, he just bids garbage Stamen, as we see. East wants to cooperate, right? East is actually, your partner came in over 1 no trump, showing a 4-card major and a longer minor. You know you have an 8-card minor suit fit, so he's going to double 2 clubs right here to let partner know I'm interested in you competing. Because otherwise, otherwise, if he passes, what's going to happen is they're going to respond to Stamen, and he actually, that might be the way to go too. On this hand, passing, having them balance 2 hearts, or not respond 2 hearts, having go pass, and now East reopening double. He just bid 2 diamonds. I wonder why 2 diamonds versus double.
I don't know. By the way, Brad and Joe had an accident on this board in the other room.
Okay.
Just looking at it. They got the 4 spades in east-west.
East-west cards.
I don't think you have to alert Stamen. even if it's over a double?
No, you do not. I feel like I'm not seeing all the Twitch chats on this thing. Did somebody ask about that alerting statement?
Yeah.
On Twitch? I'm not seeing it. Sorry, I gotta go over here then.
I see it on the Zoom call.
Oh, you do?
It's the most. It's at the very bottom. Mecton alert 2 clubs ?
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Stevie didn't want to take a piece out of 2 hearts.
Yeah, I mean Bobby wants.
He
to
doesn't
compete.
know where he doesn't know where the hand is going yet, and
Right.
he doesn't know it's about to pass out. And
well, just 2 diamonds is so weird. I wonder what he meant 2 diamonds as. It's just so normal to play double says I want to compete. So
Right.
like 2 diamonds.
He alerted it, Gav. What is the alert?
Ass major.
ask for the major.
Because I see. So Bobby was that makes sense. That double would be asking for the minor, 2 diamonds would be asking for the major. There you go. So I had some students ask. I taught a lesson on multi-landy, and I had students ask me about these competitive auctions. I'm like, I don't know. These are great questions. Well, then now we see. So they play 2 diamonds, ask for the majors, and so his plan was to try to find a spade fit, and if not, settle in 3 of a minor.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. Found our way back to 3 clubs, and this is a definite position to pick up here in so what was the auction in the other room? What was the other?
Joe overcalled 2-no, which was explained as
Hearts.
heart and a minor.
A lot of people play. Yeah, if you're playing,
and Brad just jumped to 4 spades over this, so they must have had a mix-up of some kind. It went 5 down. Yeah, 2-no is explained as 4 hearts or sometimes 5 bad and a longer minor.
Right.
And it's just got a 4 spade.
We used to do that, Greg, when we played Transfer Landy.
Yeah.
That's what I think that might be what they play. They play transfers over.
So then you play 2 spades is 4 spades and a minor, and 2 hearts is 4 hearts and a minor. But yeah, I have no idea what Brad might have thought 2-no meant.
Well, he probably thought it meant spades in a minor, right? Like
I mean,
he certainly thought it included spades. Like whatever he thought it was spades and something. Because you don't normally jump to 4 spades with 5 little opposite hearts and a minor.
So 3 clubs, as long as he doesn't lose 2 club tricks, he's going to be okay here. He's got 2 diamonds and a spade to lose. He does have to rough a heart in the process. Because the ace of diamonds is sitting over the king. So if we let me just shift to Bobby's position for a second. Who's playing it? Kibitzing. You can see from his perspective, he's got a spade loser. He knows the ace of diamonds is probably with Zia, who's open 1-no trump. So he can pretty much bank on losing 2 diamonds and a spade. He's gonna set up the dummy. North has to be the hand the top hand. Oh, he got it wrong here. He played Zia to be tricky. He played the jack of clubs, playing Zia to have led low from king queen third of clubs, and that is what he played for, right? And he was wrong. So now he's gonna go down 1. He's gonna lose 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, and spade, and that is just a result that is earned by Zia being who he is, and the amount of investing that Zia's done into tricky opening leads and tricky stuff. That when you see a spot like this, like when you have to decide what the club position is, and you're thinking, well. You look to your left, or you think like, who's there? And, oh, it's Zia. Could easily be king queen third of clubs, and so he got it wrong. All right, I'm gonna flip the view back, but now you can see he's done because he's gonna lose 1 more club and both of the spade and the diamond. Let me jump back to N kibitzing. So,
right. No, he'll take his heart rough. Zia's feeling good right now.
He is. Who knows what he'll do on the next hand?
Yeah, let's see.
Can he contain himself?
I mean, I guess there's also a little bit like he knows that North has a garbage stamen kind of hand, right? So North is known to be short in club, or believed to be shorter in clubs. So there's
Yeah, this just comes down to Bobby believing that Zia was capable of leading a low club from king queen third, which he absolutely would be.
Yeah.
So
could he have all four? I mean, there's that too.
Right, he could have king queen 10 fourth.
That doesn't. Yeah. North could be like 4-4-5-0 or
yeah, that's brutal.
Anyway, they still picked up a swing of 3, or no, not 3, 5. Excuse me. So the set is almost tied, 13-16. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, then yeah, the stream is much slower on those two spots. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, just join on twitch.tv/WolperBridge. Although we're getting close to the end of the session, we have only 4 boards left. All right, a spade, a no trump, and from south.
2 clubs.
2 clubs. Let's see if they alert it playing if they're playing a convention of Gazilli here, which seems to be popular among these people. I don't play it with my partners, but I know a lot of people swear by it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I know Steve and Bobby don't play it.
Yeah, we play. Warren and I play what Steve and Bobby play over there. One knows.
The mystery jump shift.
There's 2 clubs.
Can be a doubleton. That's the alert of 2 clubs. Can be 2.
Right, but Zia's just going to pass.
It's not.
Well, maybe
no. I think Zia's going to introduce the heart suit. If partners got hearts.
Yeah,
like you see what it is. Like in this hand, you're actually almost making 6, right? You're so passing 2 clubs is when you have a 7 count with a good fit. It's really really dangerous to be leaving partner in 2 of a minor, because as you see with this north hand, you've got partner has 15, 16 points. Partner could even have 17 or 18 points and rebid 2 clubs, because in order to jump shift you really need 19. So with these hands, like I'm always afraid when I have a 7 count, 8 count to pass my partner, and sometimes you don't have another bid to make. Like if you take a couple of our hearts and spread them out like to a couple diamonds, then it's harder. You're not really good enough to raise to 3 clubs, and partner might only have 2 of them. So, but this one you have a heart suit that you can introduce, and now you see Mech is like, ooh, hearts. I know what to do with hearts.
It's interesting they played 2 diamonds as a transfer here.
Yeah, that's what we play. That's what Levin and Weinstein play too. Exactly. That's
what do they do with a weak hand with diamonds?
You don't. That's the cost of doing business. But the real benefit of the system is going back to 2 spades shows 2 card support and like 9 to 11. This is and by doing that you make that, knowing whether your preference is a good hand or a bad hand. It's such an incredibly valuable tool. It's called I don't know, it's some version of BART, but transfer BART I think they might call it. I don't know what they call it.
Most conventions you hope you gain more than you lose. So
you definitely do. Giving up to this one, you gain like way more than you lose, and it comes up on a regular basis. It's like one. I don't like adding like a lot of, like, I know people have been suggesting all these tools since we started in the chat. People are like, yeah, there's fancy puppet stamens that let you handle all this stuff. I don't actually like adding complicated methods to my system at all. Like anything that's going to require any memory work, it's like the amount it has to gain me. It has to be so high before I'm willing to add something. And this BART convention is just it is so valuable, and it comes up so frequently that I'm willing to add it to my system. That's kind of how I feel about, and I'm sure Gazilli is the same way, but Gazilli is just, it's on a whole nother level of not natural, that I like to stay in my natural comfort zone.
The one time in my life I ever sat down to play against Zia, we had, my partner and I had the auction, a major and no trump 2 clubs, and he started asking about 2 clubs, and if he was implying, like, by through his questions, like, are you playing Gazilli? And in an effort to be a pain in the ass, I said, no, we're not playing Gazubi, and he got really upset. He like starts yelling at me. He's a great guy.
I was first introduced to it when I started dating my wife, and I was going and playing in the Swedish club league. There, everybody plays it. It's there they call it Hexan, which means the witch. And I basically was not allowed to stay in Sweden unless I learned how to play it. And so that's I was playing that for a while. And they have a really amazing bridge club league there in Stockholm. I wish they had it in other parts of the world. It's like a Monday night or Wednesday night league where they just have like a ladder of like 10 8-team brackets or 12 8-team brackets, and you play round robins, and at the end of the round robin your team moves up or down the ladder. Board 14, 2 boards to go here. Diamond by Levin. South overcalled a 4-card suits. He is feeling it, so he's out there. Although I really like overcalling a spade. I don't like overcalling a 4-card suits very often, but when you have these like really chunky suits, often it can talk the opponents out of 3-no trump, and it's not that dangerous. Like the downside in overcalling 4-card suits is your partner, when they decide to bid to the 3 level on an 8-card fit. I'm sorry. All right. It's in the spot downstairs. Yeah, sorry. I don't have it. It's downstairs.
So, neck bid 2-0, which I assume is a raise.
Yeah, it's probably a limit raise, like a limit raise or better of spades.
Right.
Pretty popular treatment, I think.
And I guess 3 spades was a minimum, and they settled
3
in
spades
no
rejecting, and North offered 3-no, even though North probably believed they had a 9-card fit. Still offered up 3-no with ace queen third of diamonds, much better placed in declarer's hand, and got the diamond lead he wanted.
Yeah, he can't quite do it though. It looks like the diamond lead was not going to work out well for him on this hand. He's knocked out the ace.
Too much to do.
Yeah, ace can just get in with one of their aces and continue more diamonds. Oh no, the 9 of diamonds and dummy. Sorry, I didn't even see the 9 of diamonds. That's acting as a very critical stopper there.
The third stopper. We saw that yesterday. We had like 10/4 of hearts and ace and 1. You remember? We had like this cool second stopper, so maybe he does have time.
No, we are not doing the next segments. You've got other commentators up on the queue, and if you're watching this now and you do want to watch the next segments, and this is somehow the first segment that you've found either through my links being shared on my social media or whatever, that you have to follow the USBF Twitch page if you want to be able to watch or get notifications when the new segments go live. Somebody will please share that link in the Twitch chat. It's definitely you can also definitely get there by going to vugraph.lovebridge.com. They put a little TV sign there where you can click and get to the broadcast. USBF Twitch. Yes. There it is.
So let's see. He's got 4 spades and 2 diamonds is 6. He can knock out 2 aces for 8.
He's got to just get 2 club tricks is the key. He's got to get 2 clubs.
So does he just need he needs either the jack of clubs on side or ace doubleton?
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he knows that both of he basically knows everything. He doesn't know about the jack of clubs, but he knows the ace of hearts is with Bobby, and he knows that the ace of clubs is with Bobby. He's opened the diamond, so he's got to have the ace king. Those king jack 10 of diamonds and 2 aces is known. It's only a question of where the jack of clubs is.
Right. And so there's 2 ways to play this suit. If Bobby has the jack, you can play to the 10. And if Bobby has ace doubleton, you can play to the queen and then duck the second round. And the ace will fall and the king will be high. So I assume that's what he's choosing between. Yeah. But he can run some spades first. And
Bobby does have 3 kind of awkward discards. I mean, the first one's not so bad, but he doesn't want to stiff the ace of hearts. He doesn't want to pitch 2 diamonds. That doesn't feel very good.
Right.
And if he pitches a club, then declarer no longer has a club guess when he leads a club towards the queen.
I did a lesson this morning on pitching when declarer runs a long suit on defense.
It's difficult. That's one of the hardest things.
Hard.
Yeah.
It is hard, but the spade queen also serves as an entry to his hand to do some of the things that he might want to do. So you just got to be careful when you cash these things that you don't.
And the lesson is that Steve is going to try to be as helpful as he can in this situation. I mean, there's not much he can say, but the order that he plays his spades is meaningless technically. So he's going to try to help Bobby as much as he can here.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you when you have a Yarborough or near Yarborough, you can assume that your partner knows you have a near Yarborough. And so it's very unlikely that your signals need to be attitude all the time. So you got to try to work out like what signals does my partner need and try to give that. It can be very subtle sometimes.
Oh, well, that's but he's not. It's not over now. He did get the clubs wrong. No, yeah, he's playing for ace double. Now he's in trouble. So now he can win the jack of clubs, cash the ace of clubs. But no, maybe it's not over.
No, it might not be over.
Yeah, it might not be over. So East is up to, that's one trick. Here comes ace of clubs will be the second trick, which he could cash right now. Then he's got to get out of his hand with a low heart. For sure, but he's going to be in trouble again. He's going to get end played again. I think this is going to be a very pretty end position here. First of all, if East plays a diamond, it's giving him his 9th trick in diamonds. And if East plays the ace of hearts, the 2 heart tricks are going to be his 8th and 9th tricks. So he has no choice now. He's going to cash the ace of clubs. He's going to hopefully figure out to cash the ace of clubs. No, he just played a low heart back right now. So now it's just going to be a straight end play. He doesn't actually need to squeeze him. He can win the king of hearts and just bang the king of clubs on the table, and he will be end played. So, but even if he plays a spade, it's still going to work. It's all going to work as long as yeah. So there's the club. So there's the end play.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, I guess either way would work. I would worry that, like, because he needs the spade as the entry to the 9 of clubs, right?
9 of diamonds. You mean
diamonds? Yeah, it's already 9 of diamonds.
Right.
Because if he didn't have that, if he had played that spade, then Bobby could get out with the jack of diamonds. Oh no, he would still have to give dummy. Yeah, no, it all works. Doesn't matter.
So you see the other room was in 3-0 making 4, so that was actually an imp to the nickel team. 78 imps with 46 boards to go.
Not insurmountable, but I certainly wouldn't want to mount that lead against a team of this caliber. Or come back from that deficit. I mean.
All right, last board. What we got on the anything interesting here? It's going to go pass. West might open a no trump. I think he will open a no trump. He does have 2 doubletons, and he does have an okay rebid as far as a diamond followed by 2 clubs. But this is a hand that you really want the lead coming in towards your hand. A spade in towards your queen and 1, or a heart in towards your 10 are going to have positional value. So plus you're showing your strength. You're preempting the opponents out of the majors a little bit by opening 1 no. A lot of good going from opening 1 no with this hand. And East has only 7 points. But if he catches a major suit fit, he's got a really good hand. He might invite or even bid game. But when partner bids 2 diamonds, like it happens on this hand, now we're just going to see East just say, you know what, I'm going to give up on game. I wasn't really planning on inviting anyway, and just bid 2 hearts, showing weak with both majors. It's amazing how much faster play is this year. I on the computers compared to on the tablets. It was slower last year with the tablets. I think people are doing better with the mouse and the clicker, and also with the pressure of potential time penalties. It's clear that the pace of play, like we're doing an hour and 40-minute segments. Like that's what we did yesterday in our first segment, and that's what it seems like it is again. It's going to be we're at almost the 1 hour and 40-minute mark right now. It's great for bridge that it's sped up. I'm not gonna lie, it's just
is typing explanation. They had a keyboard. Didn't they give a keyboard for the tablets or no?
Yeah, I requested one every time. I always had a keyboard and mouse anyway. I didn't want to be. I like the idea of using. I've played so much bridge on my computer with the mouse that.
Like typing alert explanations on the tablet screen could be difficult for some.
It didn't work out well. That West bid 2 spades over 2 hearts. It's funny. Some people have an agreement that with equal length you must bid 2 spades. I feel like some experts have that rule. I'm not sure what that rule accomplishes, but I know that they have a rule. There's some reason. There's some hand that they like to bid garbage.
It keeps the auction open, and you can like get yourself to 3 of a minor.
Yeah, it's because sometimes people use garbage day moon with like 4-3-1-5. Is that the idea, or 3-4-1-5?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now they're in two spades. A trump lead's not bad for the declare. That's definitely helping declare do his work on this hand.
Burns law, by the way.
What's that?
Try to have more trumps than the opponents.
Uh-huh. So he's got 2 trump losers, 2 heart losers, and 2 club losers at least on this hand. So he's not going to make it. 2 hearts was going to be a lot.
Yeah, and he can't quite shake his clubs right now because the diamonds are 5-2. It wouldn't help him anyway. He doesn't have enough trumps to deal with anything.
Right. He needs to just start setting up the heart suit.
Well, if they win the heart and play back another trump, is that how? He's still in not. It's not helping him.
I mean, he runs the risk of getting cut off from some of his diamond winners too.
Or the hearts.
Not anymore. Yeah, both of the hands it's weird. Like they have to put him in one hand or the other.
Yeah, I mean, anything he pitches here could be a trick.
Yeah, we've definitely evolved. The modern expert standard is to play 1 no 2 clubs, 2 of a red suit, 2 spades shows 5 spades, and an invite now. I think that's where most of the expert world has settled. That we just give up on being able to show 5 spades and 4 hearts at the 2 level over 1 no 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, in order to just invite it with 2 spades rather than getting to 2 no trump on our invitational hands with 5 spades. Such a huge benefit. I love it. Like, honestly, it used to be that 1 no 2 clubs, 2 something, 2 spades was only the mild invites or the distributional invites. But then we realized, like, even when you have a balanced 8 or 9 point hand with 5 spades, you'd still rather be in 2 spades than 2 no trump when partner's not accepting the invitation. So then it just turned into all invites going through. When you have 5 spades in an invitational hand, that you'd always just start with Stamen, have your partner answer, and then you bid 2 spades. It just shows 5 spades in an invite, not mild or anything, just any invite. And we just never use 1 no 2 hearts, 2 spades, 2 no trump. But now even more modern is people are now starting to play transfers after transfers, so that 1 no 2 hearts, 2 spades, 2 no shows clubs, and then we have to use 2. Those people have no choice but to invite with their 2 spades. But it's still right to play Stamen followed by 2 spades shows 5 spades in any invite, because if you think about it, when you have 23 points, even when you only have 7 card spade fit, a 5-2 fit, 2 spades is just so much more likely to make than 2 no trump. You'll do much better by stopping in 2 no trump. If you want to hear me say that slowly, I taught an entire like a really elaborate 90-minute lesson on expert standard no trump response structure. It's on my website. I think if you go to the lesson library and look for no trump response structure or no trump opening response structure, it's in there. And I could slow it down and go do the whole thing on a screen. But yeah, that is a whole huge topic.
Yeah.
And my website's wolpertbridge.com if you don't know. I know you know, but
yeah, none of these options is appealing, is it? On this discard. Interesting, okay. And he went with the diamond finesse. He's not getting this hand very right.
Oof, yeah. Well, he's a little desperate for tricks, I think.
Right.
All those beautiful diamonds, marooned forever.
well, that's it. The dummy declarer is going to throw a diamond away and just lose 2 more clubs.
2 clubs.
Yeah, so down 2.
And unfortunately, the other table didn't have an easy time with this either. They got to 2 hearts, which is a better contract, but it didn't make.
No.
It's not like a big swing or anything.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. We can just take a quick look back at the scoreboard here. How do we get back home?
Oh, Brad Moss just transferred on that hand and didn't try to play standing.
Because they probably have that same rule, where they go back to 2 spades automatically. I feel like my teammates have told me about that. Like, you're just supposed to transfer some of this time and not use stamen. But that hand, ace fourth and queen jack fifth. If partner has a fit in either of your major, you have game interest. So it's a little, but maybe there was it a non-vol spot. So this was the end of the set. No big swings. A bunch of little back and forth here, but no, we had some close calls for some interesting swings on that 2-spade double. That was a pretty crazy hand that only ended up being 3 imps. That was the most crazy hand of the day. And honestly, board 6, where both tables sacrificed in 5 clubs, when 4 of a major was just going down. 4 hearts was going down. Those were the 2 big opportunities, but that is it. So you can see here, it's an 80 imp lead for Fleischer with 3 sets to go. They've just haven't lost any sets significantly, and that adds up in these 8 segment matches. And we'll see if Nickel can mount a comeback, or
we are good luck for big swing sets, right?
We commented on the two low scoring sets.
Yeah. It takes them a while to wake up in the morning. What do you want?
Yeah.
Us too. All right, guys, thank you very much for doing this, and hope everybody enjoys the upcoming commentary. Remember, you've got to go to the USBF Twitch page or right through to lovebridge.com to find the VUGRAPH for the next sets. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, everyone.